Greetings friends, Reformed Stoic here, back again with another video. Alright, well, election is over. Let's just get back to the regular content, shifting back into advice mode, away from grift. Let's see how many views we can possibly get mode. It is the only mode that I know, chuddies. But I feel like this video is kind of rebranding some of my old advice. Back when I first moved here, I made a video that men should get rid of their emotions, which resulted in a lot of arguing in the comments. And then I made a second video trying to explain it. But I feel like, looking back, maybe people were right to play devil's advocate on that. Like, oh, get rid of your emotions. You know, what about if your family graduates or gets married? Or what if you fall in love? Or what if your grandma dies? I mean, people had some good points, which makes me think that the advice should be rebranded. I mean, ultimately, that's not really why I'm making this video. I had this train of thought, and then it reminded me of those videos, and so we're kind of going back to that topic, but with a fresh set of eyes, that you, men and women, should just shut down what I call the human system. And I'd like to think of it like somebody who is a computer whiz, okay? There's your average Joe. Hate to throw boomers under the bus once again, but, you know, boomers, I grew up with boomer parents, and I'm like, hey, son, can you teach me how to reset the computer? Sam Hyde had a great rant about how there's an entire generation of parents telling their kids that they should be computer scientists because they know how to hit the input button on their television set. But you think about your average Joe boomer who uses a computer to play solitaire and struggles to browse the internet. And then you got your computer whiz who, you know, maybe has a programming hustle or works in a cubicle or is some sort of a white or black hat hacker or something. And, you know, they're able to buy, because these kind of techie people, they might custom build a computer from the ground up. But they are able to buy a regular MacBook or a regular Windows 11 or what have you. But there are programs that come installed on these computers that protect you. You know, it's like, oh, we noticed that you're trying to go to this website that allows you to stream free video content, and we want to protect you from viruses and from legal trouble because you're not supposed to watch movies for free and you're not supposed to watch television for free. Like, you know, you get these kind of notifications from these kind of dormant programs just built within your computer. It just comes built into the computer. Well, when you're an expert, when you are an adept on the computer, it's like, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and pull up the command prompt and we're going to delete those programs because we don't need to be protected from free content. And, you know, that's just an example I can think of. I'm not really much of a tech whiz myself, but I think you get what I'm saying. You know, a tech expert, they might just build a computer from the ground up, or you can get your MacBook, you can get your standard computer, but there's a couple of changes that need to be made on the standard hardware. Well, people are all using the standard hardware that we were built with, you know, and it's like your inner voice that says, I need to accomplish these things. I haven't had enough sexual partners. I haven't had enough big milestone achievements in my life. I really want to go visit Turkey. I really want to go visit Paraguay. I haven't been to enough places. I haven't done this, and this. I spent 20 years learning how to play my instrument, and I'm not playing great big shows and stadiums, and I need to be doing all these things. You should just Control, Alt, Delete. Just get rid of it. And that's really what I was trying to say when I said that men should delete their emotions. But ultimately, when people are wanting to debate me on it, and then I start, it's kind of edgy. That's really like an edgy way to say it. The better way to say it is that this life, man, this life is just, I don't even know. I can tell you what the first thing off the top of my head was to say it's a sham. This life is a sham. But I think it's just better to just say this life is just, God. And when you delete the human system, you know, and the more my primitive thinking months ago to get rid of your emotions as a man, it's like, well, that doesn't sound very Christian. Well, being a Christian to me means that you just don't harm people. That you're good to people. You are benevolent. You are a nice person. You don't take advantage of people. You don't harm people. And that's easy enough. So even though more or less this life is a sham or this life is just, you don't live like Grand Theft Auto, okay? You don't just go commit a bunch of crimes and take advantage of people and do horrible things. To me, that's what it means. That's a big part of what it means to be a Christian. Those are the Christian values. But once you get that out of the way, it's just like, especially for an older person, okay? Especially for someone who is, I don't want to give like a particular age cutoff. There's some guys here who are a little bit younger. One of my regulars, I think he's about 25. You can definitely be tired at 25. I was tired at 25. I'm 33 now. You can get to that point, and this is how I remembered that this advice was kind of in those old videos, is I gave the example about the alarms. It's like, you know, you hear a car alarm going off in the alley or something, and it's just really annoying. I don't know why I randomly segued into that, but it's like, you got all these alarms going off, because you've been traumatized, because horrible things have happened to you, your expectations have not been met, you've been neglected, or you've been brutalized, or you've been cheated, you've been lied to, you've been betrayed. Horrible things have happened to you. You can definitely have lived quite the life by 25. But I'm not giving you an age cutoff, okay? I think being a child, your childhood, elementary school, middle school, high school, your basic MacBook Pro built-in protection programs, it's safe to say that you probably can do with them. But by the time you've either graduated college or didn't go to college or dropped out of college or whatever, 25, like about 25, you know, a year or two after college, this is when people start to realize that things went terribly wrong in their life. This is when people start to realize, gee, a lot of people married their high school sweetheart. A lot of people like screwed a huge ton of women by the time they were my age, or got married in college, or they've at least been dating and they're doing the normie like hop from woman to woman to woman every 3 to 6 months. And I am just realizing that I have social problems, that things that bothered me a long time ago, I never really got over it. And I'm starting to put things together like, oh, I grew up on a tiny island filled to the brim with narcissists and people who treat me like garbage. And, you know, sometimes people are like, you don't know what a narcissist is. You know what? I am just going to go ahead. I'm not agreeing with those kind of people, but I'm getting a little bit tired of the term narcissist. I'm thinking like shit people. I kind of like the ring of that one. Just like shitty people, bro. Just bad people. Maybe they're narcissists. Maybe they're psychopaths. Maybe they're sociopaths. Maybe they're Machiavellian. I don't know. And I've decided that I don't care. They're just bad people. They're just shit people. So you know, we all know what we're talking about. We know what people are talking about when we say narcissists, but yeah, there's a chance that they're not specifically a narcissist or a psychopath. I mean, they could very well see psychopath and sociopath is like they're missing human emotions. They could have those human emotions, and they're just choosing to treat you like garbage. So they're just trash people, man. Anyway, moving on from that, not getting stuck on that. By the time you're 25, or, you know, I say like either after college or after you dropped out of college or after you didn't go to college, whatever, you start to realize that like life has been hard on you. Some things went wrong. You didn't get the attention that you needed. The way I kind of thought back in the day was like, oh, you know, I was looking for a relationship or a hookup to fix my trauma. I mean, it's almost like I'm just now putting that together. Like, I knew that life was hard, but I was like, oh, if I can just have sex with this girl, if I can just have a 3 to 6 month normie relationship with this girl, then it will all be okay. And it's crazy, and I'll bet there's a lot of guys that feel that way, and that's really not... I mean, you always hear in this dating advice, like, you don't want to look at, like you need a woman, or like a woman is going to fix your problems. And I guess that's what it is in a nutshell. Like, I had a hard time. Like, things did not go well for me in my hometown, and then going to this expensive school, that also caused a lot of problems, and my life was just this train wreck, and my ability to like function in society was like being held up by toothpicks. And in my mind, it's like, it's all gonna be okay if I can just get a relationship or get laid. And by the way, like, I did get laid a couple of times and it didn't do it. And my mind, that's the thing about hookup culture, you know, the guy who's a literal incel and has never had women, you know, he maybe rightfully so feels a certain way, but then the guy who's only had a small handful of lays is like, oh, I need to have 10. And then the guy who's had 10 needs to have 20, and the guy who had 20 needs to have 30, until you're a full-on sex addict, like a celebrity, and then these people are some of the most depressed people there are. It's true. It's really true. A lot of men don't want to hear it, but success with women, because honestly, fornication is just not really good for you when you look at it that way. When life is just all about going out there and having this alley cat wild sex, it's really a bad road, and you lose no matter where you are on the spectrum. And yeah, boy, man, it's kind of throwing a wrench in the video. Like, I'm just really putting it together now. Like, I was traumatized, and I thought that it would just all go away if I could just get lucky. And I did a couple of times, and it just really didn't process in my head that the process just kept starting over. And you have to fix your life, man. You have to fix your life. You might think, oh, if I just get this job, oh, if I just get these gigs, if I just, you know, make it doing what I'm trying to do, then all of my trauma and all my problems will go away. But even if you do make it, even if you do get a girlfriend, like, it's going to be an abusive relationship. You're going to sabotage things in your whatever. I mean, I played in some pretty cool bands in Boston, and I had all kinds of problems, dude. And it made the situation like not what it should have been. So you have to fix your issue all the way. You got to get rid of this idea that, oh, if I just get laid, it's like, no, dude, you're fucked up and there's no shortcut. You got to fix it all the way. And what I'm telling you in this video, in my opinion, because somebody on my stream, I was playing Donkey Kong 64, and this guy's like, what's the best advice that you have on anything? Like, what's your greatest wisdom ever? It's like, come on, dude. He's like, stop playing this video game. Give us some wisdom. It's like, okay, well, what do you want to know? What's the greatest wisdom that you have? And I didn't have an answer. I mean, I'm playing a freaking game made for 9-year-olds, like, from the 90s, dude. And I think he was just giving me some crap. But it got me thinking. It's like, what do I think is the best advice that I have to offer right now? And it's not really my advice. It's Buddha's advice. Buddha just said, just turn the mind off. Just gone. Just get rid of it. And people want to wrestle with that. People want to fight with that. Like, people fought against me saying men should get rid of their emotions. And I'm kind of coming down and admitting, okay, that's a little bit edgy. That was a little bit like, oh, I'm so broken. Like, I'm getting rid of my emotions. It's like an emo kid thing. Like, there's absolutely... I wish I had, like, really long emo hair. It would be more effective. Like, there's nothing in my heart. There's nothing in my heart at all. I'm empty. It was a little bit edgy. It was a little bit cringe. So just shutting off the mind. But when people want to fight with that, well, it's like, oh, so you're going to be empty-headed? Like, what about reading books? What about knowing things? What about being knowledgeable? That is different than your thought process. And as somebody who kind of prides myself on my memory, I was doing pretty good on those memory games in Donkey Kong 64 today, I guess you can say. That was like a thing on Family Guy. It's like, wait, Peter, are you like condescending to us because you beat us at a game of Trivial Pursuit? Perhaps. Yeah, okay. As somebody who prides himself on his memory, it's like you got these little storage facilities in your brain. I mean, while we're talking about all these like freaking Family Guy and Donkey Kong 64, let's throw in SpongeBob in there too. There's the episode where I think Squidward like brainwashes SpongeBob to be his waiter to impress Squilliam. He's like, I want you to get rid of everything in your mind other than breathing and fine dining. And then inside of SpongeBob's head, there's all the file cabinets, right? He's like, the little SpongeBobs are like burning all the papers inside of the file cabinets. Well, those file cabinets in your brain, that, when you read a book, that's where the knowledge goes. When you learn something, when you go to school, when you take courses, or read, or watch videos, the knowledge is in those little cabinets. The thinking, the thought process, this little voice in your head, it's like, oh, you didn't do the thing you're supposed to do. You never made it. You blew it. Oh, man, you could have kept your friends. Oh, you could have screwed 10 more girls. That little voice in your head, that little thought process that's just yapping, that might as well be like a couple of those little a couple of those little SpongeBobs, and they're drunk, and they're just like making a scene. They're just like walking around the hallways of all the file cabinets, and they're making a bunch of noise, and they're knocking stuff over, and it's not the same thing, bro. You'll be sharper, okay? You will have much better access to the knowledge from your reading and your learning in your file cabinets. You will become a better intellectual, a quicker, higher cognitive thinker when you shut off all the car alarms. Because when you're an older guy, and by older I mean like, it doesn't matter if you went to college or not. I'm the last person who gives a shit if somebody went to college or not. But I'm just thinking age-wise. Like, if you did go to college and you graduated with like a bachelor's degree, you get out around like 23, 24. That's about the time you're like, wow, when my dad hit me with a tennis racket and locked me in a closet, like, that fucked up my entire life. And that didn't happen, by the way. I'm just saying, that's about the time you start to realize that you're fucked up. That's about the time that you start to realize that, like, you're bothered by things and life didn't go the way you wanted it to. And your human system has all these little alarms going off, and you just shut it off. And it's like, okay, great. How? Well, I have that video about like my spiritual practice, and I'm telling people, like, as a Christian now, I'm okay with things like breath work, and the only kind of meditation I've been doing lately is just staring at something. Like, you take an object and you just stare at it. What a lot of people like to do is go to a wall, like get to where all your vision can see is like a blank wall, and just stare at that. That's like staring into the void. But yeah, your mind is less likely to wander if your eyes are open. You know, when your eyes are closed, then you're kind of like alone with your mind, and it's ultimately different. There's different kinds of meditation, but I just find for what I'm trying to do lately, staring at an object, it doesn't have to be like a special like it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be like, oh, my $10,000 crystal from Peru that I say blessings to. This is what I stare at. No, it should be like something completely meaningless, like this little piece of bark, you know, like this little piece of bark. Just prop this up somewhere. Or I got my cat, one of my cat toys that's like covered in hair and kind of disgusting. I should probably throw away, like that. Something completely meaningless, and you just stare at it and you just observe it, and it helps you just clear your mind. That is what you're trying to achieve, my friends. Like, that is the point of this video, is like the breath work and the meditation, and then just the relaxing, and then even just kind of like doing what you want to do, and you're kind of embarrassed about it. It's like, man, I kind of want to play Donkey Kong 64 again, but I'm a 33-year-old man, and like, oh my gosh, what would people think? And, you know, I don't give a shit. I'm freaking live streaming it. I mean, that's where I'm at in my journey, dude. It's just like that little thing that you want is like, man, I kind of like playing solitaire, but like with a real deck of cards and like not on the computer. Or, man, I don't know what it is. Like, I kind of feel like sitting at a Wendy's and like doing crossword puzzles. I mean, whatever that little thing is that you want to do it. Just blow off some steam, let it all go. It's like, oh, but what about how are you going to sleep with 10 more women if you do that, dude? How are you going to freaking take that trip to Peru? How are you going to accomplish all your dreams? Dude, this life is a sham, and I'm not telling you to give up on your dreams. I'm not telling you to like have no ambition and be a loser. This isn't about that. Shutting off your human system does not make you stupid. The file cabinets are not going to go anywhere. Your mind, see that little voice in your mind that is like, it never shuts up, it might as well be a demon, bro. I think that it's not either or. It's like, it's you. It's this little like unorganized weakness in your mind. And it's also the alarms. Like I said, it's the car alarms and the bullshit. But sometimes demons can interface with that. Sometimes local entities or spirits or what have you, or like demons that you've attracted into your life from bad habits, they can kind of hack into that. They come in and out. The demons come in and out of that. And it's funny to me. I was looking for a better word than funny, but it's funny to me when certain kinds of Christians are like, oh, don't meditate because you're going to get possessed by a demon. Bro, you're getting possessed by demons. You're dealing with demonic possession regularly because you haven't dealt with this unorganized static in your mind that you could deal with by meditating. The meditation helps put you in a spot where you're actually in a better place to deal with demonic oppression, where you're less likely to have demons like whispering bullshit into your ear, because that static is just your human system has this virus. But we're not like a computer, but maybe it does work with a computer. I'm not really computer savvy, so I get lost in my own computer example, but it's a kind of computer virus where, because actually I had to like rebuild this like thumbnail thing in my computer because like thumbnails weren't loading anymore, and I had to go on Reddit and figure out how to do it, and the only way to fix it was to delete the part of your computer that deals with that and rebuild it from the ground up. That was the only way. You had to get rid of it. It's like, it's fucked, dude. Your human system is fucked. You have to delete it. And then from there, I don't know. I keep trying to communicate in this kind of example, you know, in this kind of metaphor, but it's up to you. you create the rest of the metaphor. It's like, oh, well, you rebuild the program or create a new program or custom make it, or there's just no program and then there's just an empty void. I mean, like, when you are an adept on a computer, when you are this kind of hacker person, you just want limitless possibilities. You know, these people can do anything on a computer. It's like the program that comes on the computer is limiting you. It's putting you inside of this box. And it's like, oh, well, we just got to get rid of that. Just get rid of it, dude. Get rid of those limitations. And then from there, it's like, yeah, maybe there's more responsibility or whatever, because you could potentially choose to do nothing with your life. Is that what you want to do? Do you want to just go, you know, I mean, you could be smart about it. You could go move somewhere where it's never cold, where you could live outside. I think some people like living in Hawaii when they're homeless, maybe. I don't know. Like, you could go find the best place to be homeless and just figure out how to be homeless. I mean, yeah, when you have that kind of freedom, you could potentially choose to do something that isn't impressive to some boomer who probably ruined your life. I mean, yeah, dude, you could choose to do something that sucks. But you're to a point where you're so traumatized and there's so many alarms going off, this built-in human system is only damaging you at this point. And that leads to this greater point that, like, you basically have to become enlightened. I mean, maybe calling it enlightenment is a little bit much, or like initiated or enlightened or reaching the higher guardian conversation. I mean, it doesn't have to be this occult thing. It could be, if you wanted it to be. You could be a chosen one. You could be enlightened or whatever. It's just like life, for whatever reason, battered you, and your human system has this design towards, like, you've been battered, this happened, that happened, that happened. It's not going to help you, bro. Like, regular normies who are not capable of whatever you want to call it, like this greater experience, they will be battered by your broken human system for the rest of their life. And just respectfully, there's no reason to live that way. There's no reason to just have car alarms in your ears forever. It's never going to get you anywhere, man. So, yeah, it's not going to make you stupid. It's not going to make you a loser. But maybe you realize that you just really don't want to do anything. And that's okay. I mean, other people aren't going to be okay with it. But respectfully, fuck other people, dude. Yeah, in this little tiny box that's built in your human system. Oh, no, not fuck other people. You need other people. You need this. You need that. That's for plebs, dude. That's for normies. Some people need the rails. Some people, when you play bowling, you go to the bowling alley when you're a little kid, and they put up the little things in the gutter so nobody can lose. Hey, I did it! Hey, wow, son, you did it! You got one bowling pin down with the freaking guardrails over the gutter. My little bowler. Like, some people need this. But I don't know, maybe you were supposed to be a normie, dude. Maybe you weren't meant to be deep. Maybe you weren't meant for these things. But on some level, I feel like what I've realized, because I can tell you that there was times I don't think I was meant to be deep. I don't know if people are meant to be anything, bro. I do believe in fate. I choose to believe in fate. That is where I'm at. My spirituality is now my spirituality is starting to go outside of the bounds. It's like, oh, sometimes I think that this is the church, to be honest with you. And, but you want to be careful. It is a big responsibility. It's a big world out there, man. And hey, when you do all this stuff to your computer, you can start using your computer for stuff that gets you in a lot of trouble. So, but the bottom line is, however any of that sounds to you, I mean, it's just a bunch of babble, dude. Like, where you're at right now is your human system is You were traumatized. You were traumatized. People were shitty to you. Your life isn't where you want it to be. So regardless of the, oh, you're going to be a sorcerer, you're going to use your computer for illegal stuff, or you're going to, it's just like, dude, it's time for this to go away. That's where you're at. It's a little bit of a scary world outside of this, but it seems like you were chosen to get outside of that because it's really not, it's achievable, dude. It's attainable. And it's not just meditation. It's not just breath work. It's just changing your mindset. It's just realizing that, you know, some people die when they're kids. Some people have shitty, empty lives their entire life. Your life is not like the worst life that there ever was, bro. You had particular expectations. You've been trained to think that you need certain things. You've been brought up in this system. And dude, I just posted a video on my community tabs that, man, that video really like meant a lot to me. It was some guy, you know, like some not white guy from not the United States, and he came here and he's like, what the hell is this place, dude? This is like the Twilight Zone. Like, how does anybody make friends here? What are people even doing here? I'm looking in people's eyes and it's like they're soulless, or like, it's like nobody talks to each other. And man, I just really needed to hear somebody say that. I just really needed to hear somebody say that. And I really appreciate that guy's perspective. And you know, because I say that kind of stuff, people are like, no, it's you. It's not everybody. It's you. And people try to make me feel crazy for saying that kind of stuff. And I know that there's like some place to socialize somewhere here, or there's some way that people have social lives here, but other people are seeing it, bro. And maybe this is kind of like a post 2020 thing. I mean, I was already struggling socially before 2020, but I think it got worse, dude. And yeah, that video just like, I really needed to hear that because it just makes me think like, I'm not crazy, bro. Like, this country is sick. This way of life in the United States, I really think that social media pushed it over the edge. And I think what causes people to not want to hear it is when you make it all about women, when you make it all about sex and dating and hookup culture and incel shit, basically, right? It's so much bigger than that, dude. Like, this society was already hyper individualist. It was already material. It was already about keeping up with the Joneses or the Smiths or the neighbors or whatever you want to call it. We've all come up with all kinds of observations about boomers. They were our parents. They were our teachers. Social media, internet culture has just pushed it overboard. And it's like, bro, there's something wrong with this society. And this guy's like, yeah, bro, like, I've been in Africa, and, you know, people in Africa are, like, starving, but there's people, like, being friendly to each other in the town square. I mean, there's all kinds of places where people are making eye contact, and people are having discussions, and people are, like, community-based. There is still community. I mean, it's like, oh, it's everybody but you. I mean, that's kind of like the United States at this point. Because people want to say, like, there's no community anymore. There is, bro. It's the United States. Like, something is really going wrong. And I don't want to get every time, are you criticizing the United States? You don't sound like much of a patriot there, bucko. Hey, like, I don't want to get in the CIA's radar again. Like, it's not a political thing, okay? For once, it's not the CIA's fault. Or, I don't know, I mean, the CIA has, like, influence on media. Let's not even go there, dude. It's like, it's the tech companies, and it's the technology, and it's not necessarily an agenda. I mean, I'm sure that it is, but the point is just that the West, the United States, is supposed to be this wonderful place. We're so much smarter than everybody, so much better than everybody. America, yeah, this is the best country in the world. People don't talk to each other, bro. People don't look at each other, bro. People, like, don't have friends. Guys aren't having sex. Yeah, that's a part of it. the community is fucking dead here. And then there's people like, I have community, I have friends, there's something wrong with you. It's like, dude, you're lucky. You're lucky. A lot of people are struggling in the United States. And anyway, that was a big side tangent rant. We're 35 minutes deep. The point is, guys, that tangent rant of the United States is sick. Your box, your human system that developed from public school, from public television, from movies and Seth Rogen culture and all that shit, like, it just needs to go away, dude. Get rid of it. Part of it is Eastern practice, breath work, yoga, meditation, but part of it is just letting it go, dude. You want to play Donkey Kong 64? Play Donkey Kong 64. You want to go for a walk? Go for a fucking walk. You want to just... You don't feel like working? Like, everybody's saying, like, oh, what you really need to do is go work at the corner store, and then you can start climbing it, but you don't want to do that for some reason, and you just rather leech food stamps or something. I mean, you kind of just got to be okay, bro. You got to just say, it's okay that I live the way that I live. It's okay that I didn't get these things. And, you know, because it's like, there is a part of you that's going to be unhappy that you didn't get all these things. But you just got to do these things. Your instincts will guide you. Your instincts will guide you to start just kind of releasing the trauma. In my experience, it's random shit, dude. It's like, I'm a single guy. I feel like driving to a local pizza place, getting a couple of slices of pizza, and then I'm going to hit my bag, and, you know, I do all these little things to keep myself busy, work out, play drums, martial arts, throw a video game on top of that, throw some reading on top of it, make a video. And then after, like, you start getting in this routine of kind of just living your life the way you want to live it, throwing out everybody else's expectations, and silencing the static in your mind, you'll start to realize, I'm happier than I've ever been. And it's not because I got the big fancy career, or I have a beautiful woman in my life, or I have these like wonderful things that everybody says you're supposed to have, and that you do want. You would like to have a woman in your life. You would like to have a better career. And I'm not saying you can't have it. What I'm saying, in conclusion, is that this, your life is fucked up, you blew it, that's not going to get you the job. That's not helping you get the job. That's not helping you get the woman. That's literally doing nothing for you, bro. Life, I talked a long time ago in a video about how, like, you have a health bar, and after that health bar goes down to a certain amount, then you're basically, like, traumatized. And this is when men get bitter, okay? This is the answer to that. Once that health bar goes down, congratulations. God has decided that you have to get rid of this. Whatever is next, whatever's next for your life, you've been in this rut, you're trying to get to the next spot, it's beyond this, bro. You got to get rid of this. You got to disable the human system, and the rest of your life is on the other side of that. So, I hope that helps. God bless you. See you guys next time.